Welcome back to another video session on Vedic astrology. Today I am going to speak to you on the wise men from the East. When we were in school, we used to read the Bible as well. And during those years, I was always wondering about who the wise men from the East were. I will now read out from the Bible, Matthew chapter 2 and verses 1 to 12, which is usually referred as the Magi from the East. So let me read out from the Bible, from Matthew chapter number 2, verse number 1 to 12. The first verse is like this. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem. So we have to concentrate on two words here, the wise men and the second word, east. So why are these people called the wise men? They must be having some extraordinary wisdom that was not available, and that they have come from the east. So the East was always known for occult knowledge. It included palmistry, astrology, and so many other methods of knowing the future. There are people who argue that the wise men were actually kings. So it is unlikely that the kings would be spiritually inclined, that they search for Jesus Christ. It must have been somebody from the Eastern world. It may be possible that these wise men were yogis or saints from the eastern side of the world, or maybe they were astrologers. Verse 2, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. So this is another aspect. What is the meaning of we have seen his star in the east? So somebody is born in the west, and then a star in the east is telling them about it. It looks like they were referring to a horoscope, a chart that is filled with stars and planets. And that horoscope was informing them that Jesus Christ is born. Because we see from the second portion of the verse, and are come to worship him, it is very clear that this king of the Jews is not a political king. He must be someone of a very high spiritual level who demands worship. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. It's very clear from this line that Herod the king hears of the birth of Jesus Christ not from anyone else in his place, except from the wise men from the east. Verse number 4, and when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. So after having come to know of the birth of Jesus Christ from the wise men of the east, King Herod is calling all his chief priests together to find out. It clearly implies that none in the land knew about the birth of Jesus Christ until the wise men came from the east. And they said unto him in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus is written by the prophet. So there was a prophecy that Jesus Christ was going to be born, but the prophecy did not include the exact place where the person is going to be born or the exact year in which the person is going to be born. So that was made possible by the wise men of the east, and once that information was given, the chief priest and all other people immediately remembered the prophet, whose prophecy goes like this, and thou Bethlehem in the land of Judah art not the least among the princes of Judah, for one of thee shall come as a governor, thou shalt rule my people Israel. Now let's move on to the 7th verse. Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. There are two things which reveal something more about what is being said here. Privately means in private. So King Herod is consulting the wise men privately. That happens only with astrologers. The rich, the influential, and the politicians or the celebrities even today consult astrologers in private, and in public they always discredit astrology and tell people not to follow astrologers. So King Herod is calling the wise men privately and inquired of them what time the star appeared. What time the star appears? We all know from science and from astronomy that the stars don't appear all of a sudden. So stars are not born all of a sudden, and stars don't die all of a sudden. It is a long process. Verse number 8, and he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search diligently for the young child, and when you have found him, bring me word again that I may come and worship him also. When they have heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. This is the final line which proves very strongly that the wise men were astrologers and that they were following the stars and planets in the horoscope. They were following the wisdom in the horoscope and not the physical star. The reason for that is the star which they saw in the east went before them. So they are saying that the star is actually moving, as though the star is something like a helicopter or a flight or some other object in the sky, maybe a bird or something which can lead you to a particular point. A star in the sky cannot lead you to a particular point, because as much as you walk, the star also keeps moving and you will never reach it. When they saw the star, they rejoiced and with exceeding great joy. So this is again a repetition that they have actually located Jesus Christ using the horoscope. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. This also proves that these wise men were spiritual people also. In those days, astrologers were also spiritual people. Even today some of them are. I hope I have clarified the point that I wanted to say, that the wise men were actually astrologers from the east. Thank you very much for watching this video.